All right, let's see how this delicious can of... Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
So, yeah.
I'm going to make you start with what your drink is today. We're going to do things a little backwards today. It's going to be, as they say, madness.
All right, so we start behind the curtain here with no puns allowed. Normally, right, I come prepared. I've drank, I believe, on every single episode we've ever done. Has there ever been an episode where I haven't had a beverage? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that to brag. Actually, it sounds a little terrifying when I say it that way.
I don't know.
But,
wow.
Oh.
You're quite a team player.
But so I don't have a beer today, and I was able to scrounge up a truly pear martini style hard seltzer. Now I'm going to give a little official review of this first. No, the review is no. I'm going to drink it because I'm a team player.
Yes.
It tastes like a mix of pear and like what you would use to clean like your stainless steel oven.
Oh.
Like, it's not great.
So not great. So not as good as the Cutwater margarita. But, I mean, behind the curtain again, Kramer told me that he was drinking this canned cocktail. And I just wanted to remind him that Kramer versus canned cocktail is 0-1 so far.
Yeah,
so
the Cutwater episode is one of our greatest. It's like people cite like the Game of Thrones episodes where everybody's dying. The Cutwater
Red
episode
Wedding,
yeah, that was my Red Wedding. Is like the Cutwater episode.
That's amazing.
Canned margarita, and I couldn't spell margarita.
To be fair, this feels very on brand for what's going on in your NFL team life. So for those who don't know, Kramer is a Jets fan. What is the temperature? Like, give me what you're feeling, all the emotions right now, because as someone who just is over the Aaron Rodgers saga, I clearly watched the Pat McAfee show today, but how do you feel about everything?
All right. I'm excited. I'm actually I'm pumped. My team has been bad and boring. And at the very least, they're interesting and maybe not as bad.
Okay.
And I don't know. I kind of like Aaron Rodgers. I probably say that now. I do. I don't agree with all of his opinions, right? We differ on some things, which is fine. But there's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. And I can understand why people are probably not in the vibe. But even on the McAfee show, I don't know, there's something about it that I'm like, that's my quarterback right there. That is my quarterback.
We've had this discussion on the pod before. I'm not really a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Obviously, he plays for the Packers, Niners, kind of not a fun rivalry we've got going there. But when he started doing the Pat McAfee show, I was like, I actually really enjoy listening to him talk because it's interesting to sort of get an insight. And I feel like it's not super scripted on his end. But part of me is changing my opinion on that. I'm like, it feels so unscripted that I feel like I was duped, and he's very scripted and very manipulative. And how he's basically controlling essentially a whole off season, but it hasn't even really been a full off season yet. So it kind of is weird to me that he's dragging this out. And I understand it's not technically his fault. They're trying to work out the deal. But yeah, I mean, he's going to play for the Jets. That's his intention. So really, we just need them not to botch this.
So here's the other thing. As a Jets fan, I'm going through the history of quarterbacks. I did this exercise earlier.
Oh, God.
Who is the best quarterback of my lifetime? Chad Pennington. That's perfect for the Jets.
Oh, my God.
Probably my guy, Chad Pennington. I like Chad Pennington a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
I think he was far and away the best. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
I know
magic,
we are down bad. Okay, we're down bad. I have to be missing somebody. But the point of this is my entire life, they have just been bad. Pretty much. They made back-to-back AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez, right? And a great running game. And they have a really fun team. So the only other thing I'll say, I do feel a little bit bad for Zach Wilson, because basically having an entire roster shitting all over me for the last week, and it's been funny. Sauce Gardner and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, who are really good players, they're all, I mean, it's funny to see how they're tweeting through this basically and like encouraging it.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, who grew up idolizing Aaron Rodgers, by the way, which is an odd dynamic in all of this, and maybe that will work or maybe not. It's got to be so strange. But I'm pumped. Like,
talk about two different personalities. That is kind of hilarious.
I'm ready. I'm like, my dad. They live in Wisconsin, right? My stepmom loves the Packers. My dad, Jets fan, has always hated Aaron Rodgers. And watching him come to terms with this has been hilarious. Because we know deep down, we're like, this is the best thing for us. But we also know, like, oh my God, there's going to be so much drama. Yeah. This is not the last of it. And yet we're kind of like, fuck it, whatever, man. Like, let's go. We're going to score points. It's going to be entertaining. So it's been weird that, I'll say this, from a media standpoint, the way that this has been reported and not reported has been fascinating. Like Trey Wingo just kind of scooping this, like, really strange. And Schefter and all these guys, it's not done. And it kind of hasn't been done. The way that this has been reported, and then the way Rodgers kind of like starting off, like, let's go back to 2020. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's just been strange the way this whole thing has come together.
It's fascinating that he says that he is upset with like the media inaccuracies, but yet he denies anyone any information. So like, why don't you just tell us what you're doing then and what's going on? Essentially, he did that today without the media, but Pat McAfee is still technically media. But yeah, he wants to burn some of those guys, especially after the Jordan Love draft night stuff. So like that for him, I think, is like a little bit of a revenge tour. But another quarterback that is no longer going to be on my team and is headed to the Raiders. I just wanted to say, this is all on the Raider fans because they sat there and made fun of Niner fans for having Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he took them to a Super Bowl. So this is karma at its finest. So enjoying Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo, enjoy Las Vegas. I can't wait for that content. I cannot wait for that content.
Yeah, he should thrive there.
He should. I hope that he is like engaged to a bottle service girl within like the year, because you know what? That is how this goes. And that's how like hot people are supposed to be with hot people. Like, that's just how that's supposed to go. Like, just make it happen.
Jimmy G is going to do well there. Yeah, I think the funny part, by the way, tying this as a Jets fan in general, if like the Rodgers thing does fall apart, which it seems like it won't, they'll figure something out. Like, watching all the quarterbacks sign, like Jimmy, I was like, okay, Derek Carr, we're good. No. Okay, Jimmy G. I would have loved Jimmy G for the Jets. Like, gone. Like, every one of them. Like, it was feeling very Jetsy. So I think when Jimmy G's healthy, though, he's very competent. Like, I think you guys win a Super Bowl if Jimmy G is healthy this year for your football team.
All right, well, let's not do
I didn't mean that as a negative. That sounded like way more like negative than I meant it. It was like a compliment to Jimmy G. Like, oh man, you guys really fucked that up. No, it was like Jimmy G is good.
Everybody just got hurt. It's fine. It's fine. I'm totally okay.
Yep, just crying through it. So no, I do think free agency is hilarious. I know this is a college football podcast, but like the legal tampering, and then there are some college football-y, transfer portal-y vibes to all of this now.
Yes.
But like, it's just so weird to see how some of this stuff comes together. And also, by the way, the NFL has a salary cap and none of it is real. That's the other thing I always learn about. Like, everybody, like, okay, we're going to restructure this deal. It saves us like Deshaun Watson contract. They saved like $30 million in cap space by restructuring his deal. Like, none of this is real. You could just hand out, bonuses and be done, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, it is a little ridiculous. So this weekend, I may or may not have become a little degenerate college football because, like you said, there's not a lot of college football news right now. This is obviously mainly a college football podcast, chaos podcast, I would say in general. Sports chaos podcast, that's what we should call it. I text you that I had started looking up next year's schedule, including like week 0 and week 1, and was already like, okay, this is going to be the line for this game, and I already know I'm going to bet it. And it was like a proud dad moment almost, where you were like, wow, I can't believe you're doing this already. I was embarrassed by it. I was like, I need to tell somebody that this sicko behavior is going on, and you were the person that I was like, I gotta just tell him that this is happening.
I was so excited for you, and then I like instantly got a rush of college football energy. Like, you're ahead of me. Normally my schedule like hopping starts like, I don't know, April, May. The fact that you're there already in the heart of like basketball madness is,
right?
I'm just proud. I am. And did you learn anything, by the way? Did you have any epiphanies when looking at any of the schedules? Did you have any like, this is good, this is bad?
Week 0 is going to be pretty easy to bet, I think. But week 1 is going to be a little, like, the spreads are going to be pretty small, in my opinion. And normally they're like pretty large. Like, I think we get like 10-point spreads for like the big Chick-fil-A kickoff games and all of that stuff. Yeah, I think we're going to see smaller spreads, which is actually kind of exciting.
I am very much here for it. So I'm looking at the schedule now. Is USC plays week 0? Is that correct? Let's see. I think it is.
Do they play?
Yeah, but this schedule seems all like out of whack.
Here.
Because there's like games Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on ESPN. It doesn't seem right. So I
got you. Hold on.
I am becoming
a
week 0. Okay, I'm becoming a week 0 super fan. I love week 0. Okay.
Week 0 this year. Let's see, it's loading. Yeah, San Jose State at USC.
Oh, that's gonna be a big spread.
Navy, Notre Dame, and Ireland. But
spread.
Those games feel very easy to bet. Hawaii, Vanderbilt.
That is the most week 0 game.
Ugh.
And it's in Vandy this year, right? Because last year it was in Hawaii.
What were we talking about that I said there was a game? Was it week 1 or was it I think it was week 2. And I texted you and I was like, this is a very...
Oh, it was Baylor.
Utah? Is that who they play?
Hold on, I'm going to pull up the text. The text chain, this is, I'm sure, great for people to listen to. But
it's also just the way that we speak to each other. Sometimes I think, like, if people read our text messages, they'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
It's Baylor, Utah, week 2.
Yeah.
Right? So you said, I'm excited for Baylor, U2. Might be this sicko behavior. And I said, I already know that I'm going to lose money betting on this game, which is so true. Baylor, Utah is that game. There's a couple of these, by the way, in March Madness. I'm already sizing up.
Yes.
No matter what side I bet, I'm going to lose, money. And I'm going to be mad about. And so Baylor, Utah, that is like a perfectly good.
And I think said I know that I'm going to bet Baylor plus 2.5 at that.
Exactly. Yes. And you're not going to feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm not even. That's what's going to happen. But yeah, we will get to obviously March Madness and all of that stuff in our bets this week in our brackets. But yeah, I'm already like very excited for next college football season. Even in the middle of March, you're right. Well, it is early for me.
Well, we are. It's March, right? And football heats up pretty soon. Like, we are trudging through this off season, which I very much like. I do like to bring up one little piece of spring. People overanalyze spring football. It's kind of annoying. We do this every year. I did it with Nebraska last year. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. This is going to be great. And it was not great. But I am curious. I've been reading because Georgia started spring football.
Yeah.
And I am actually very intrigued to see what the post Stetson Bennett Georgia football quarterback looks like. So Kirby Smart, basically, they're trotting their guys out, and you've got Carson Beck, you've got Brock Vandegrift, and then you have Gunnar Stockton. What I find really interesting is all three guys are pretty different. We watched them on the field, right? And you've got some big NFL type players, you've got kind of dual threat guys, you've got like different styles, and you're coming out of a situation where you had a quarterback that was like 5'11", and you lose your offensive coordinator, the best offensive coordinator in college football, in my opinion. So you got a new OC, and you've got 3 highly recruited guys, and you have this offense that's still loaded with
weapons,
loaded with potential. I'm really curious to see what happens here. Now, from a Heisman betting standpoint, which is where this matters, there's crazy value. So, Paige, they're going to be the number one team in the country pretty convincingly to start the year. The schedule really isn't bad. So, Carson Beck is 25 to 1 to win. And he is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like the 13th choice.
Okay.
Brock Vandegrift is 35 to 1. And then, so what I'm getting at is if you have a feeling that one of those guys is going to start, they got a good chance to be in the Heisman discussion just by talent and quarterbacking and all these things. So I'm really curious. I don't think we'll get a declaration of this now. Kirby will wait till the fall to name a starter. But they're all very capable and probably potentially more talented than Stetson Bennett. Maybe not better, but more talented. So I am very curious to see what happens. I know you think I'm just bringing up quarterbacks to get you to talk about Stetson Bennett at Georgia.
No, I think you're just trolling me to talk about Georgia football. That is the off season. Just give me a break. I don't want to talk about Georgia football. Back-to-back episodes. Kramer's like, by the way, I wanted to talk about Georgia, Paige. I know you hate it, but here we go.
I can't help it. But I think it's the most interesting storyline for me for the spring to see where the vibes are. And if you have a high, like from a betting standpoint too, because the value is there, the moment one of those guys is named the starter, like that changes, those odds will probably be cut in half. If not more.
Well, it's funny because we were saying that, like, I'm ahead of you. Usually you're the one checking out the schedule, doing all that, looking at games. Heisman is your thing. Like, you love to look at Heisman now. That's like your number one thing. You always have somebody that you made a bet on well before anyone else even touched it. I do. And we'll obviously talk about that as we see kind of spring go on and we know who's going to start where. But really, the biggest thing that's going on is the NCAA tournament. Are you ready?
So first off, I am 1-0 to start my betting March Madness.
Congratulations!
I was on Pitt.
Nice.
Pitt
same in our household.
So that was good. So I think I'm going to be on Nevada tonight.
Ooh.
Okay, fair enough. What do you mean? Oh, you're wearing an Arizona shirt. Isn't that like boo?
Boo AC. No, because I want people to win money, and Nevada should, in my opinion, should have been left out, and Rutgers should have gone in.
I actually agree with you on that.
So
too.
I think that I'm going to go with ASU there, and they beat us, so they have lucky day, you know?
So when you are filling out a bracket, what is your process? So what I mean by that, do you first time go through and that's it?
Yep.
You're done.
Yeah, I wrote, see, you can see it here for those that are watching. I wrote it all out, printed it out, wrote it out. I usually start just going first game by first game. I don't do like, sometimes I'll start with like a region that I feel like is easier to fill out. But once I make my picks, those are my picks. And I also don't make like a bunch of different brackets. Like I have one bracket and I use it for every bracket challenge that I'm in. I feel very strongly about that. I feel like that is something, if you're doing multiple brackets, it doesn't even count. You can't say like, oh, my bracket's busted, or oh, my bracket was really good, because you made a bunch. So of course the odds are in your favor. But yeah, I read it out and then I'll put it in the computer and it'll stay as is. And I mean, obviously I pick Arizona to win every year that they're in it. And this year I came up with like a reasoning.
Wait. Hold on. No matter what, Arizona's your pick every year?
Yeah. And here's why. I'll tell you why. Okay?
Well, I know why. You're a giant homer.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, that's...
But here's the thing. So first things first, if I do pick them and they do win, okay, then I wasn't just a giant homer. They're actually pretty good if they won a national championship. If I don't pick them, okay, I'm betting against my team. I'm rooting against my team. That's bad. That's bad karma. It's bad juju. I don't like that. And this is March, okay? Karma, momentum, all of that stuff matters, okay? And if they don't win, I was like, you know what? At least I rooted for my team. At least I put my team down, and I probably got a bunch of other stuff right. Because for me, it's more about, like, the betting matters more. I don't bet on Arizona. Well, I bet them to win the national championship. But other than that, I don't bet, like, the games they play in. other than that, like, that's more what it's about to me than having like a perfect bracket, because I'm never gonna not put Arizona in there, because what if I didn't and they ended up winning? Like, I would never be able to live with myself that I bet against my own team. I wouldn't even be able to enjoy the national championship. I take this so seriously.
So you fill out one bracket, and which I do too, by the way. I am a one bracket
person.
I thought about doing multiple this year, but I'm not going to do it. So you fill out one bracket, and Arizona, seeding be damned, is your final team.
Yep.
Okay.
Always.
What other
teams do I like?
Bracket, like, yeah. What do you? Well, what else? What is your strategy going into this? You watch this, so is it purely off of like, your assessment strategy? Because I have actually some interesting strategies that I try to use. I could talk about because I don't watch. I've told you this is the most college basketball I've watched in a long, long time. So I have a better feel for it than I normally do. But there's some teams that frankly I don't.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like to do is look at point spreads for round one.
Okay.
I think it's super interesting. Like Drake versus Miami is a great example. 12 versus 5. Drake is only, last time I checked, a 2-point underdog to Miami, right? And I like Miami too, by the way. I just think it's fascinating. Duke versus Oral Roberts, I think is a super interesting one. Duke is one of the hottest teams, obviously, for good reason. They played great down the stretch.
Yep.
They're only like a 6.5-point favorite against Oral Roberts, which isn't that much. So I'm wondering, like the point spreads to me are always helpful. Like I'm like, okay, even though the seeds are this way, like here's a potential way to do it. I've done that the last few years. Sometimes it works, sometimes obviously it doesn't. I think it's a cool way to look at at least the first round matchups and see what Vegas thinks of teams, which allows me to at least have Vegas knows teams better than anybody, to anybody on the planet. So if they feel a certain way, at least I can feel a certain way based off their interpretation of it.
Yeah. I think my strategy is to, one, look at the matchup and how they play. That's first and foremost. I take conference into consideration when it comes to like the major conferences and like the Power Fives. Like when I look at a Big 12 team and I'm like, there is potential for upset. Like the Big 12 is a really good basketball conference, and they've like their record may not reflect that they're one of the best teams, and their seed is lower. I'm like, okay, that's sort of how I strategize. And then I do usually pick like a decent amount of upsets in the first and second round, but I don't go like overly crazy. I usually pick like one or two in each region. But yeah, my strategy is essentially just looking at it game by game and taking it through and going, okay, round by round, who is what. But I do it by region. So I go
do we
south.
Want to go? Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I go.
Oh, go ahead. You're
also annoying me is that the fact that this says like South and the South is at the top. Like, can we just put like the South, Midwest, and East and West, like where they're supposed to be? Like the West is on technically the like what would be the East side of the paper, and that really bothers me. And just I was looking at it earlier and I was like, why is this bothering me so much? I don't know if I've ever like noticed that before, but that just really bothers me. First round. Do you have some Cinderellas? Do you have an upset? Do you have sounded like you were maybe thinking Oral Roberts situation, but what are you looking at in terms of like Cinderella stories?
So it's funny. I like Furman.
Okay.
My problem is I feel like a lot of people like Furman over Virginia. 13 over 4.
Well, because
I love betting against Virginia.
Because I think people have that like in the back of their mind. Yeah, I think people also have in the back of their mind that they've lost a historical like loss.
And I don't even. It's funny because like for sure, like I've actually watched them a lot this year, and it's like oh my god, they're hard to watch. Like they are the opposite of Lane Kiffin basketball.
Yeah, they're the opposite of Arizona and Gonzaga.
They're Iowa. But actually
they're the
much
Iowa
better
of
than
basketball.
Iowa.
That's amazing.
They're the
Put
Iowa
that
of
on
basketball.
a shirt.
But they are the Iowa of basketball. And Furman scores. So that was one. Let me see what else. Oh, this isn't Cinderella, but I'll give you some. I like Utah State.
Okay.
And then let's see, who else do I have? I don't have any I have Drake against Miami. I did have Drake going.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the Iowa-Auburn game. It's going to be terrible. And then the other team, this isn't a Cinderella, so I'm kind of hijacking your question, but the team that I have been gambling on and it's been a fun ride is Creighton. That's a team that if they're right, I feel like they're going to be awesome. And if they're not, it's going to be terrible. But Furman would be my team, and then Drake would be the other. What about you?
I'm rocking with Charleston. Charleston, nice. I think, is a great pick just because they're actually very good. Despite the conference that they're in, they're still won a ton of games this year. So I'm taking Charleston to make it to the Sweet 16 and lose to Alabama. So that's my main one. I'm also basically saying that Purdue, Houston, and Kansas are all going to lose before they get to I don't think I have a single 1 seed in the Final Four.
I don't either. Oh my God. I'm wondering if our Final Fours are similar. I do not have a single 1 seed either.
Oh man.
No, but
do we want to go to Final Four immediately?
Well, in general though, what's funny about that is you and I have talked, and the whole idea of this year being wide open, I feel like this tournament's gonna be chaos, or it's gonna be very chalky. The 1 seeds will prevail, and maybe I'm underestimating the 1 seeds a bit, but I very much in your mentality of this. And yes, we can reveal. I can reveal Final Four first if you.
Yeah, it's fair to say that, though, because Houston, we're not really sure. One of their best players is injured. We're not really sure what his status is for the tournament. Yep. Purdue, is beatable. They have the best player in the country, but they still are beatable. Kansas, I don't want them to go back-to-back. I think that's maybe just a personal choice. And then, obviously, I want Arizona to beat Alabama. Actually, let's start there. When the bracket was revealed, I was hoping that Arizona, because they won our conference tournament, that we would be rewarded with the 2 seed in the West. Well, we weren't. So, because I was okay, I'd rather play Kansas than Alabama. Well, no, I thought that Houston was going to be the 1 seed in the West. I thought Kansas would get the Midwest, but they didn't. So I was okay, I'd rather play Houston than Kansas or Alabama. Well, we got Alabama. And as many of you know who listen to this podcast, I have lots of Alabama friends. And I already text that group chat to just say, I don't handle this sort of loss well. So let's just make an agreement, a handshake agreement here that I'm a sore loser. This is the one thing that I genuinely am the biggest sore loser. Everything else I can get over. I'm such a sore loser when it comes to Arizona basketball. So give me 24 hours before you troll. You can troll. Just give me 24 hours. But if we end up losing that game, but that matchup, I'm hoping that Bama loses before it, because honestly, it'd probably be one of the greatest tournament games ever, because they're both really good teams. But the idea of having to sit through that game to get to a Final Four really just stresses me out.
By the way, as for Arizona basketball, during the Pac-12 championship game, there was a lot of dollars flying around on Arizona, and I was texting you for we it was good vibes, good vibes. Let's go, let's, and I am running it back. So I will. My big reveal is I am picking Arizona to win it all. We'll get Final Four teams, but Arizona, I've bet Arizona to win it all at I think 14-1 already.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not doing this. Well, it is I like the camaraderie, the Pac-12 champ. We willed that one home.
We did.
I felt
we really did.
But I really they play a style of basketball which is beautifully kind of old school, with 2 massive big men that if they stay out of foul trouble are gonna beat your ass. That's my Arizona basketball, my very scientific and professional assessment of them, which I like to watch. But I also think they're really good. So I do have Arizona winning it all. I will give you my other Final Four teams. I have on that side, I have Kansas State.
I like that pick.
I have Kansas State, I have Texas, and I have UCLA.
Okay.
So what about you?
So obviously I have Arizona. I have Duke, which I really don't need to see Duke in back-to-back Final Fours. It's fine. I have UConn. The West was very hard for me. I struggled between TCU and UConn. I had them in the Elite Eight because I like those two teams.
I do too.
And then I have Texas coming out of the Midwest.
Texas is good.
Texas is hot. Texas is hot right now.
They are. I have Texas as my runner-up, and I think I'm going to sprinkle on them as well.
Yeah, the Arizona-Texas is my national championship game. Wow, look at us. We didn't even talk about this.
Oh, my God. It's either great
it's pod synergy.
Or terrible.
Or it's terrible.
It is. Well,
I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but...
No, I am too. I'm looking also for a couple of teams to sprinkle on in terms of,
I got you.
Natty odds. So Indiana was one?
Yes, Indiana. I think UConn. I genuinely think UConn is a good sprinkle, and Marquette.
All right, let's take a look here. So
I'm going to write that down so I remember that we're going to sprinkle.
UConn 18-1, Marquette 20-1, and I think Indiana was 50-1, which is just lovely. I like that. It sounds like you're writing with an axe.
It's this table that I use, but this is my lucky pen.
No, that's good. We need it.
Okay, so I wrote that down so we can tweet that out. That's going to be our sprinkle. I workshopped in the middle of doing this bracket. I was text Kramer and I was like, I think we should do every day. We should have either a parlay that we do or a lock bet that we decide as a group and write it out together, and sweat it out. So we will be doing that, but I'm definitely going to do a futures sprinkle.
So I filmed 2 videos today for BR Betting, by the way, which was a lot of fun. I love doing this. One of the videos was Natty Bets, and it was
and you picked Arizona
and Indiana.
Wow.
So and then I did a 4-team parlay. Okay. I did my own 4-team picks, and so would you like those now? I mean, I'd like to know what you think of these actually.
Yes, go ahead.
So, and I've kind of gone through them already. So I have Furman +6 versus Virginia, Utah State -1.5 versus Missouri, Oral Roberts +6.5 versus Duke. That is one of those games, by the way. Let me feel like an equivalent. It's it's like Iowa State at home versus Texas, and Iowa State's only a 3-point underdog, 3-point dog. And football-wise, there's a good chance Iowa State will lose, but there's also there's something there. You're holding this bomb that could go off, and it's probably going to blow up in your face, which it might. And then Drake +2 versus Miami. So that was my 4-teamers, so to speak. So which one of those do you like the best?
What were the first two? Because you lost me at Duke and Oral Roberts. I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, fair
you have
enough.
Furman. I'll give you Furman.
Okay, and then
Utah State. Yes, I picked Utah State to move on to the next round.
I didn't like Utah State. I don't know why.
I mean, they'd play us next. So meaning Arizona, that would be.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna end up playing. Geez, to be fair, we're gonna have to play a decent group of teams to win a national championship. How I have it.
Well, that is the cool thing about this is when we do the college football playoff, some of the matchups feel like there's no way this could happen.
And then
outside of that, a lot of these games feel very within reach.
I will
which
say,
is cool.
I will say the West. I originally, when the bracket came out, I didn't think that it was going to be the most difficult region. Everyone was complaining about it, but looking at Gonzaga, UCLA, and Kansas all in the same group there. I mean, I have Gonzaga losing to TCU, but UCLA, they're good. So if all healthy and don't get into foul trouble, very good. So yeah, I'm definitely not gonna sprinkle on them to make the Final Four because that would just break my heart. I just can't do it. But yeah, I don't think the Duke Oral Roberts game will actually be close. Sorry, so you picked those are very are those all? Hold on, let's see. Duke Oral Roberts is a 5-12. Furman is a 6-13.
Yeah, they're all in that mix of
yeah.
7-10 was Utah State.
Yeah.
God, this drink is murdering me, by the way.
Yeah, my 5-12 is Charleston. I like Charleston a lot, so I might sprinkle on.
What is that line? Hold on. Actually, I wanted to check.
The Charleston, San Diego State?
Yeah, let's see here. That's got to be under 7 points, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because I think a decent amount of people are betting it.
5 points.
Okay.
San Diego State by 5. I have no comments about Iowa, other than I will not be betting that game, and
I picked Auburn. Sorry.
I don't be sorry.
But
seems like a wise decision.
See, I struggle with games like Iowa, Auburn, and then the other one that's hard is like VCU and St. Mary's. Like those are hard for me because those like style of plays are so completely different, and it's like, how do you know which one's gonna win out in this moment? You know, I know they say defense wins championships, but like, which generally, you know,
yeah, sometimes,
yeah. But I'm hoping this year is the year of fast offenses.
This drink, by the way, it's buddy, it's not good.
It's not good. Do you feel it though?
I feel like my insides are dying.
Oh, well,
it's only 5% alcohol. Cutwater was like, oh yeah, you're going to feel this. We are going to hit you in the face. It's tequila. This is like, you want to drink some coffee table cleaner? Guess what? We'll sprinkle some pear on it. It's just not great, but I'm powering through.
You're powering through. In terms of bets, do you have day 1 and day 2 bets that you are doing besides those parlays that you gave for BR betting? Because I have 2 for each day. Okay,
go for it. I gotta figure out which days those bets were on, because I was just firing through, but I want to hear your bets.
So day 1, I have Charleston moneyline. Excellent. I love a good money line. Most of these are money line. And then I have Boise State money line.
I love Boise State. I am Team Mountain West. I am all over that team. I love that.
Yeah, so I'm taking Boise State money line and Charleston money line. Those are my 2 on day 1.
There's some of these games are just fascinating. Like Providence, Kentucky. It is only a 3.5 point spread.
I picked Providence.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. Tomorrow, my bets, I would probably reallocate. It would be Furman.
Okay.
And I kind of like West Virginia. I want to throw them in there too.
Did I pick
West Virginia is either going to win by 10 or lose by 20. I don't think there's like an in-between. That's like what they've done for me all year. I don't know
if I picked them or not. I feel like I did.
I guess I have Oral Roberts in there too, but I'm a little scared of that now. You're kind of like,
yeah, I don't think that's
scaring the shit out of me. I do want to know, like, so tomorrow it starts.
Uh-huh.
Well, technically it started already, but tomorrow it begins in earnest. So like, walk me through your day.
I usually can't sleep, so I get up pretty early. I get up probably around 6:30. I'll probably do a Peloton class.
Good.
I will like shower and get ready. And then there's usually 5 TVs in my living room. So we got like a 5. There's usually like 4 games on at one time, but sometimes if there's overtime, you need that like 5th screen just to be safe. So technically I don't start working until 3 o'clock my time, Pacific time. Or no, 12 my time. But I'm on the couch at 9 watching all of the games, and then start work at 12, and then you usually finish up probably an hour or so after games are over, but it's mostly just watching games, talking to writers. We do like a winners and losers, so I'm talking to whoever's writing winners and losers, discussing each of the games and what to add in. But it's legitimately like, for legal purposes I only work 8 hours, but it's a long day of watching. Those first 2 days are kind of like very chaotic, but after that it's amazing. But I get paid to sit and watch the tournament like everybody else, so that makes me happy.
I also, and I have this coming next week for Vegas, but it's early, right? Like, it's 9
a.m.
15. Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, it's the best. It's kind of like college football. Like, I like being able to wake up and watch games. Like, I don't like waiting around. Like, I don't know what I would do with myself if I had like half a day. And I also like to go to bed early. So for me, the being done at like midnight is early. But yeah, it's for the first 2 weekends, that's what it is, and then I go to Houston for the Final Four. And that, I will say, like, because we do like national championship weekend, and that, like, there's a lot of downtime with the Final Four. It's like you get there Friday, you have 2 games on Saturday, which is exhausting, by the way. And then Sunday you have an off day, but I am going to a baseball game because the Astros stadium is right there. And then Monday, national championship. And as you know, like, once the championship game happens, it's like you have so much to do after the game is over. And then like the next day is just like the longest day ever because you have to like travel home and are exhausted and just like overwhelmed. Hopefully this year I'm like very happy and like hungover from celebrating Arizona winning, because honestly that's what would happen. And this year, my stepdad and my brother are coming to watch the games regardless. So they're doing like a little Final Four boys trip.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited that they will be there as well. That'll make it a little less like long of a weekend to be able to split up time and see them. But yeah, it's definitely a long next few weeks. But I mean, I love every minute of this. I get so sucked in. Like on Sunday, I was like, I can just feel it like bubbling. I was just so like, I get like butterflies. I just get so excited over this stuff.
I am very excited. I love the next couple of days. The weekend is a ton of fun. There is Saturday is like sports heaven. You got a UFC card that's great. You have March Madness. It's like unbelievably
Sunday there's
good
an
day.
F1 race.
Sunday
Sunday I will be up at, actually the race is at 10, so that works out perfectly for me. So it's like in the middle of it. So I'll need an extra screen to be able to watch all the games plus an F1 race.
And then I will preview Vegas next week. But then I leave a week from Thursday for Sweet 16. I will be in Vegas for that, which is kind of fun. I mean, it's 4 games a day for Thursday, Friday.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be a blast. And we're debating. We're gonna hit up Circa.
Okay.
Which is I have friends over there that work at VSiN and go to the the Swim Up Sportsbook,
yes,
which is super fucking cool. Vibes, all sorts of good vibes.
All the good vibes. And like I said, for the pod, we will be giving you guys like locks of the day. We'll give you our future sprinkles tomorrow when this publishes, maybe even tonight. But our first day locks will get you pretty early so that you have them. But we'll be definitely sharing our gambling strategy on this front. Because like you said, when we do it together, we usually works out well. That's what happened during college football season. When we rolled together, it usually went pretty well for both of us. So I think maybe we spread that love to the No Punts Allowed community.
I'm a little scared how locked in we are right now, though. It's a little, this was not planned.
No, it was not. The fact that you picked Arizona, like that's big. It's huge for me because it means that I'm not totally delusional, which is fine. I am good with that during this tournament. But like I said, the reasoning for me picking them always is like if I picked against them and they won, I'd feel like an idiot because I watch obviously Arizona out of everybody. Like I should know that they could win a national championship. So
I like that. I appreciate that. I'm not going to be doing that with Iowa, but I'll have them. I would love Iowa to be playing. Well, they're going to have to play. Yeah, they're not going to be playing in the Sweet 16 round, but it would be awesome if they were, which they won't be. I very much love this tournament and all it stands for, and the goofiness and the weirdness and the
stories and the people we're gonna meet. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's fun. This is one of the best weeks. Weather's getting better, I guess. It's getting lighter. And we're one step closer to college football, by the way.
Yep.
Just saying, as seen by your scheduled degeneracy. Anything else? Any other takes? Look at us actually moving along somewhat quickly for once. It's amazing.
So chaotic. Producer Matt's going to be like, wow, this is the shortest episode.
Jesus
and it's because we have stuff to talk about. So we get through it. That's the problem is we hurry through the stuff. When we don't have anything to talk about, we sit here for an hour and a half talking about random things. Let me see with my notes. No, I prepared notes for today because I also was just doing that to keep my bets straight and look at bracket versus bets. But no, I think, one, I'm honored that you picked Arizona. I think it's funny that we both have the same teams that we think are going to be hot through the tournament, and
terrifying.
I'm just looking forward to it starting, and I hope that we win a lot of money on this tournament. Is really my biggest hope.
I think you're right on the no punts front. I want to just be handing out winners randomly and regularly. We're firing.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do this on our social accounts, but also on the No Pawns. Just like, we're on it.
Yeah,
Boom.
We should push to follow our social accounts.
That would be good.
That would be the best. That's what people who like are good at this podcasting thing do. Yeah. They actually push our podcast. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. I still owe somebody a municipal gift package, which I still have names from that. So don't worry, you will get it once the tournament's over, not before, because I'm a little busy.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
But yeah, I think we will hand out a lot of winners.
Yeah, and next week's going to be fun. Next week we will talk Vegas, we will talk Houston, we will talk tournament recap, and I will find a way to interject Georgia into this podcast.
I forgot. I did actually get a lot of really positive feedback about our TikTok that you were involved in. So
thank you.
You making TikToks during March Madness is actually going to be a theme. So we will if Oral Roberts if Oral Roberts covers, I'll do something embarrassing. But if not, you have to do another TikTok. That's what we'll go with.
That's fine. But like the TikTok you do, it's like say something. It's like, okay, that's the best way for this
TikTok thing to happen. I totally agree.
Dad to get into TikToking. But yeah,
I can't imagine you trying to like edit a TikTok in TikTok. Like the thought of it, like knowing how you are with like our own daughter technology, you're like, Olivia, come here. I don't know how to do this.
I think I've said this before. My kids still want to start a TikTok. And we're trying to figure out the best way to do this without it being like, you know, there's a line
parent things.
There's
parent stuff that's involved. Yeah,
but I think it'd be fun. They're creative. They're hilarious. The thing around the Kramer house now, of course, we're going to go long, is grittying. Like all of my kids that's what they do. So like randomly in the morning, Jack to go gets his waffles and he gritties across the kitchen.
I would give anything. If Caitlin listens to this podcast, please have her film you grittying with your children.
And one more podcast related. Now I was at the dentist this morning. And I like my dentist.
Okay.
And good guy. He's got daughters that are, I think, go to Clemson and Ohio State.
Okay.
So,
wow.
So here's the funny thing though. So when I'm in there, he wants to talk college football, right?
Uh-huh.
It is very difficult to talk college football. And I get a little frustrated because he's like, so CJ Stroud, you know, CJ Stroud, what do you think? And I'm like, like it's hard to have good football dialogue.
Yes.
But he did ask about the pod. Maybe he's going to listen to this. Good dentist, by the way. Shout out, Dr. Phi. And he asked Caitlin when she was in, like, oh, what podcast is it? And she like literally couldn't remember the name of the podcast. And so I talked to my wife and I'm like, look, like, you don't have to listen, but like, I get it. Like, whatever. But like, yeah, just maybe know the name. Like, have
it saved on your phone to pull up and just show.
Just like.
That's amazing.
She was going through. She's like, wow, there's a lot of episodes. Yeah, like we've been doing this thing. I don't know if we don't talk or what, but yeah.
She thinks that you're just like down in your basement.
I just like fucking like yeah. So
playing video games.
To my dentist, if he's listening, like, hey buddy, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
No cavities, by the way. Teeth are doing well.
Congrats.
And yeah, trying to do college football analysis while getting your teeth clean. Not easy.
Maybe write it out before you go in there and then just like show him.
Hand it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. Like he's got Ohio State, Clemson. So there's actually stuff to talk about at the dentist. But
that's awesome.
Yes, it was very interesting. So
that is amazing.
In any event,
yes. For those that are listening, that this is No Puns Allowed. Please subscribe, go on to Twitter, follow our Twitter, follow our Instagram. Instagram is where I'm going to post most of the Kramer content. So that's really what people are here for. Go to Instagram and follow us.
Yes. And then I hope everyone wins all of their bets and watches way too much basketball. And as long as they're not fading ours. And have a blast. And we will catch up with you guys next week.